Hi, my lovelies. It's me, your host, Njoroge, and I go by they, them pronouns. Welcome to another episode of the Blather Chronicles, the podcast and show where I chat about whatever I want to chat about and share more of my life with y'all. I'm so excited to have you here. Let's not dilly-dally and get right into the episode. Okay. Oh my goodness. Welcome to the Blather Chronicles. As you can see, which is kind of insane. I don't really know. This is my first time trying this. As you can see, look at my little impromptu microphone setup. We're gonna hope this works. I hope the audio is fantastic. And if it's not, we know better for next time. But thank you for joining me for the Blather Chronicles. This is our first video podcast, which is super, super exciting. It's something that I've wanted to do, but haven't really put that much thought and effort into it. But I just figured, let me just set this up and we can chit chat like we always do. First thing we're always going to start with, as always, is our week noticeables. So this week we actually don't have any music, which is insane. I know what you're thinking. What do you mean you have no music? It's because I have been listening to The Age of Pleasure. Y'all know how I like to have my things on repeat, so that's what I have been listening to. I have not taken the time to listen to a lot of new things, and the new things that I've listened to, I kind of want to save them for next week, just so that I have the chance to actually listen to them and not just listen to them in passing. So, Janelle Monáe, You Have Me by a chokehold. All right. We do, however, have a lot of movies. Okay. There's this thing that happens with me sometimes where I will not watch movies and then I will all of a sudden just watch a lot of movies. And I decided to put 3 up that I think are the most noteworthy that I've seen. I've seen a few movies this past week, but these 3 in particular are the ones that stood out. So the first is The Devil Conspiracy. It's on Hulu, and this is technically listed, like when you look up the genre, it is technically listed as a horror movie. If y'all know anything about me, y'all know that I don't like horror movies. I think I'm actually realizing, though, that it's not that I don't like horror movies, I don't like gore. I don't like Human Centipede-esque, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I don't want to see it. I'm good. But I'm realizing that a lot of these horror movies aren't actually as horror-filled as they want to appear. Like, I don't know, are horror movies just not that scary? Or is it me? Because these are the horror movies that I've been watching recently are reading more as thrillers than true horror. I don't leave scared. I leave a little annoyed because I'm like, why weren't y'all running? Why did you split up? Why did you go to the cabin in the woods in the first place? But I'm not scared. But anyway, back to The Devil Conspiracy. I will give it some points for being original and a little bit different. Like I said, it's on Hulu. Basically, the premise of the movie is that God and Jesus, heaven, the devil, all that stuff is real. And the devil gets trapped in hell by the angel Michael. I don't know why the first angel I always want to talk about is Gabriel. Just when you say angel, Gabriel, but Michael traps him in hell, and then the devil, figures out a way to get his essence. It was such a horrible word. His essence into this woman by impregnating her, and basically wants to be in the real world. And the only way he can do that, because he's imprisoned in hell, is by being born into as a human child. It did go on a little fantasy route, like I think it's interesting the way that they did the whole Antichrist thing. That was interesting. I think the whole setup was interesting, but I feel like if you're gonna go full fantasy, you have to go full fantasy. Like, you have to just like bring it. And I feel like they got a little bit bogged down in wanting to try and appear serious or something. But for me, I feel like if you're gonna go full fantasy, like bring out the dragons, bring out like the whole thing, bring out the magic, whatever part of your story that you're talking about, bring out the whole thing. I wish they would have done that. And it also dragged on a little bit too long. There's a part of the movie where I was just like, all right, like what are we doing? What's going on? Um, so yeah, I would recommend you watch it, but it's definitely not horror. So if you're like scared, it's not that bad. The next movie is Forever My Girl. This is on Netflix, and I have so much to say about this one. So much, because this is a movie that is technically like a romance movie. I have yet to see anything romantical about it. Basically, the whole premise of the movie is that this guy and this girl fall in love. You know, they like grew up together in the same little small town, fall in love. Their wedding day, he dips. Basically because he becomes like a famous country star, and so he doesn't show up to their wedding. Has like doesn't even tell her. Has his friends tell her that he's not coming. And then a few years later, after he's done his whole rock star bit where he sleeps around with everybody and, you know, drugs, alcohol, you know, the whole nine, then he comes back trying to get her back. Like, I just need y'all to, I just need y'all to just think about this with me real quick. This man had a fiance. On the day of their wedding, decides not to show up. And she contemplates whether or not she should take him back. Does that not seem crazy to you? Because me, no. Mm-mm. You're blocked. I don't want to see you anymore. I've moved 8 countries away. Like, what is it about romance where we just allow men to be able to come back after they blew everything up? It's not like it was like a mutual disagreement, misunderstanding, blah, 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 whatever. He blew that shit up, came back after she had put her life back together, and was like, I would like to partake in this. And she let him. Spoiler alert. As if that's not the way it would have gone anyway. I really hate this movie. I really do. You can watch it, it's on Netflix. But it's horrible and I hate it. Okay, we're gonna end on one that I actually liked because I absolutely loved this movie. It has been on my to watch list since I saw the trailer. I think it was like a year or so ago. I'm not sure when it came out. But it is Mrs. Harris Goes to Paris, and it is such a lovely movie. Like, such a lovely movie. If you guys follow me on TikTok or know me a little bit, you know that I love a good anything is possible movie. I love a movie that just makes life seem like we can just run after it, go after what we want. It just sets my soul on fire, and this is definitely one of those movies. It's kind of like in the same realm for me as Eat, Pray, Love, in terms of like this movie makes me feel like I can do absolutely anything. Has kind of the vibes of Monte Carlo mixed in with the little Breakfast at Tiffany's. It's just such a cute fucking movie. Basically, the movie is about Mrs. Harris. She's a cleaning lady in England in 1957, I believe, is when the movie takes place. But she is a cleaning lady who has dreams of buying her own Dior gown, which don't we all? And so she works really hard. The universe gives her a bunch of good luck, and she's able to go to Paris to buy her dream Dior gown. And the movie is so cute. I was crying the entire time. But I absolutely loved that movie. It is on Amazon Prime. I'm not sure where else it is right now, but that's where I watched it. 10 out of 10. Get yourself a good rainy day. put this movie on, get a cup of tea, coffee, cocktail, mocktail, some watch this movie. It's just, oh, you'll love it, okay? You will absolutely love it. All right, and the only other week noticeables that I have this week is for TV, and it's basically the fact that I am back to watching The Real Housewives. So I used to watch The Real Housewives like a crazy person. I just was caught up on all of them except for which ones? I don't think I've ever caught up on New Jersey or Orange County. Those two I haven't caught up from. I love to watch them from the very beginning. I know some people like to just like catch up where we are now, but I personally love to watch them from the absolute very beginning. It just the growth of the characters, the outfits from like 2006, like I love the whole shebang. But recently I've been catching up on Salt Lake City, specifically Salt Lake City and Beverly Hills. Are we ever, and maybe y'all know, but I haven't fully caught up on Salt Lake City. I am one season behind. But are we ever going to know what happened with Mary Cosby and this cult church? Is that ever going to be addressed, answered? Because it's giving cult. I'm sorry, but it really is giving cult, and I want to know. Like I want to know what is going on, because I feel like I haven't gotten to this part yet, but I'm feeling like we'll obviously get the details with Jen Shah and her whole indictment and, subsequent prison time and blah, blah, blah. And even if we don't get it on the show, you can just go online and get it. But I feel like I've done some deep diving into Mary Cosby in the show, and the church, but it's all kind of like rumors and hearsay. It's just so messy. Like when did the Real Housewives get into prison territory, into cults, and sleeping with grandfathers, and it's a lot. Like these girls came out the gate swinging, the Salt Lake City girls. Whitney's my favorite. I love me some Whitney. I do not like Lisa at all. At all. That woman cannot listen to someone talk about how they feel, about how a situation affected them, without jumping in about herself. And it is so annoying to see. But I'm really excited to catch up on Real Housewives. And I don't know, are y'all Real Housewives people? Y'all want to talk about that, or is that not something that people are into? I don't know, y'all let me know. All right, and then we got some life updates, bro. We got some life updates. First of all, I forced myself yesterday to just put out my YouTube video. I really did. I've been kind of like flying by the seat of my pants with my content creation recently, mostly because I have this thing where I, obviously think a lot about what does this look like? How does it sound? Blah, blah, blah. Like, am I being artistic enough? Is this something people want to see? And now I'm just kind of like trying to force myself to just, oh, it's done. Put it out. Just get it out, because otherwise I will sit on it for weeks, like I did with this video, kind of like changing the music, changing this, changing that, and then wanting it to be absolutely perfect, and it's just not ever going to be perfect. And so go on my YouTube channel and watch my video, because I'm finally back on YouTube and it would mean a lot. And make sure you subscribe. So there's that. The other thing that's happening in my life, I got a new plant. So this doesn't sound like a big deal, okay? It doesn't sound like a big deal. But there are two types of plants that I have been successfully able to grow and foster and not kill, okay? A pothos and a snake plant, okay? Anytime I buy a new plant, I buy a new pothos and I buy a new snake plant. Those are the only two types of plants that I can keep alive. If it's not a snake plant or a pothos, it's gonna die. I've killed a cactus before, okay? The poor bonsai tree that I had, poor thing. I feel so sad for that bonsai plant because it was so pretty, and I don't know what business I thought I had buying a bonsai plant as if I was going to be able to keep it alive. Sad times, sad times. Moment of silence for that bonsai plant. But now I bought a fiddle leaf fig, which I have heard rumors from the plant community that this is one of the harder plants to keep alive. It's doing good. It's been over a week and it's fine. I heard that it likes lots of sunshine, so she's right by the window. And just to keep it watered. I I'm the kind of plant parent that be watering on vibes. I should probably get a schedule. I should probably, water my plants at the same time every week or something. I don't know. But I did repot my pothos, like I feel like I'm vibing with what Mother Nature tells me to do. And so far that has worked for me. But please wish me some luck. Give me some tips on how to keep this fiddle leaf fig alive because it's such a pretty plant. The leaves are so big, it's green, and I would really, really like to keep it alive. So give me whatever tips you can. It'd be very much appreciated. Okay, it is time for the meat and potatoes, the steak and frites. It is 2 weeks in a row. 2 weeks in a row that I have remembered the little catchphrase. And this thing that we're talking about this week, I have just been feeling very strongly about. I had a whole different topic picked out for this week. We were going to talk about some other stuff that we will talk about in another week, but this topic has just been circulating my brain, okay? Because I don't know if it's just me, but I feel like, are we finally ready to eat the rich? Like fully. Like not on a hee sort of thing, but like they got to go. Obviously, unless you have been living under a rock, that there was a whole submersible situation this past week. RIP to the 19-year-old child. Everyone else can go suck it. But first of all, I just want to clarify that if you are a billionaire apologist, if you are someone who, just wants to ride or die for the rich, this is not the place for you. Okay? This is not the place for you because over here, no, we don't like billionaires. And basically, for those of you who may or may not have heard the situation, there is this company called OceanGate run by this CEO named Stockton Rush, which is just the most douchebag name on the planet. But anyway, he got like 4 buddies of his. Well, I guess like 3 buddies, and then one of the buddies brought his 19-year-old son, which should be criminal. If they weren't dead, criminal. Basically convinced them to pay $250,000 per person to get into the equivalent of a tin can. I cannot even believe that this is actually real news. But they got into the equivalent of a Pringles can, and then tried to go 13,000 feet under the water to see the Titanic. Yeah. And by see the Titanic, I mean that they were looking at a screen showing them the footage of a camera, like camera footage, like the way you're watching this podcast right now. They had no ability to really see out of a window because there was no windows. And they had no ability to go out there and touch the Titanic. Like you can't tour the Titanic, So they were doing what you and I could do, which is like sit in our living room and watch a Titanic documentary, but they paid $250,000 and risked their lives and the lives of their children to do it. Stockton Rush or whatever has a, you can just go online, go on TikTok, you'll find so many videos, but there's been a history of him ignoring people telling him about the fact that this isn't safe. Like, you should not be going on this thingy-majiggy, because you can't even really call it it's a contraption at best. Like it was piloted by a Logitech controller, video game controller, like absolutely insane. But anyway, so he completely and continuously ignored feedback about the safety of said contraption, even went as far as, I believe that he fired, I don't know if he fired or the guy left, but the safety director was gone. And yeah, they all imploded and died. I think this is just the amount of ego, one, to assume that the professionals, the people who do this for a living, who are telling you, hey, this thing is not safe, and you go, you're just trying to kill innovation, and then you end up killing other people, is just insane. Rich does not equal intelligent, okay? It doesn't matter how much money you have, you do not acquire knowledge with said money. You don't get a higher IQ the more money you earn, no matter what Elon wants to tell you, okay? There are hundreds, if not thousands, of people who prop up these billionaires, companies, people who do the actual work, who are not getting paid a living wage, some of them. But these billionaires are not as smart as they want you to believe, okay? The whole thing I've just been thinking about is just how insane it is to me that billionaires are allowed to exist. And I've always been mad at billionaires, but this is just so, like, it was just so glaring this week that I had to talk about it, because I have to process this mentally, and y'all know that I love to process by talking, so we just have to process this, because I have been thinking so hard about what life would be like if 250,000 American dollars was the equivalent to me of $2.50, like right now. Like, that's, as a billionaire, spending $250,000 is pocket change. Pocket change. Do you know what I could do with $250,000 right now? I could change my whole life. $5,000 would change my whole life. And these motherfuckers are out here spending $250,000 to get crushed like a soda can. On purpose. Like, that waiver mentioned death 3 times on the first page. Like, are we sure? Are we sure that we're okay? Because it doesn't seem like we're okay as a society. Like, there are people online, okay? People like you and me, people online defending these billionaires within an inch of their life. Like, literally going back and forth online about how we should have empathy and really just, like, we should care for oh my God, I'm gonna die. We should care for these billionaires, and we should just, really feel empathy and sympathy for these people. Like, they are the true innovators. Like, bitch, if you don't shut the fuck up, what are you talking about? The only person I feel empathy and sympathy for is that 19-year-old boy, because that boy did not want to be there, first of all. That boy was forced to be there by his dad because it just fell on Father's Day, and he wanted to please his dad, make his dad happy. That boy did not want to be there. That father, I hope he is rotten in hell. That is some foul shit. But, like, we really are supposed to feel empathy and sympathy for these people. These people, like, I made a TikTok, and I basically at the end of the TikTok mentioned that these people would not spit on us if we were on fire. That is what they're doing to us now. We are on fire, and they're not a flick of water being flung our way. How do you think we got to this place? Like, how do you think we got to this place where everything is so fucking horrible, and yet everything is fixable? This is not, oh my God, a fucking meteor came from out of space and just hit us all and caused capitalism. No, these were conscious choices by very rich white men over and over and over and over again. And now we're here. Just conscious decision that, oh, we actually don't care about the well-being of the planet. Oh, we actually don't care about whether or not people can live, feed their families. We don't care. Like, I really need people to grasp the fact that, number one, $1 billion is a lot of money. And we're going to cover that later, because $1 billion, people are not grasping how much a billion with a B is. And we need to rectify that. And two, that this country, and many other countries, but I'm speaking as someone who lives in the United States, this country profits above all. Profits above all. You know how I know that? Let's take a walk with me. So I have been listening to this podcast called Medical Murders. It's about medical murders, basically doctors, nurses, orderlies, whatever, people who work in the medical field who commit murder. And one thing I have continuously noticed, because I've, looked into these stories a little bit more, like watched different documentaries about these stories, one thing I've continuously noticed is that in these hospitals where these doctors and nurses work, the hospitals don't tell people, patients, you and me, about the suspicions happening with this doctor. They don't alert, the legal system. They don't alert the police. They don't make any steps towards notifying anybody about the fact that, like, hey, this guy might be killing people, because they're worried about profits. The hospital, the place that we're all supposed to go to get taken care of, the place that you're supposed to feel like at least like a little bit safe. The last episode that I listened to was, who was the doctor's name? I'll put it down in the description. But basically, the doctor was I really cannot believe this is real. I really can't. He was doing spinal, like your spinal surgery on people without being qualified. He made one guy paralyzed from the neck down, killed someone else, killed multiple people, I believe, yet was able to go from hospital to hospital to hospital, because they let him go at one hospital, but the hospital would keep it hush-hush because they didn't want to lose funding. They didn't want people to not go to their hospital, because, if the people don't go to their hospital, where are they going to get the money? And then there's a doctor on that podcast who will like chime in and give a little bit more information and detail on how the medical system works, and how like medical terminology that might be a little bit confusing, and breaks things down. And he at one point mentioned that a hospital is a business and it needs to make profits. And I just mentally, I just don't understand. I don't understand, because what do you mean the hospital is a business and needs to make profits? The hospital's first point of importance, the first thing a hospital should be focusing on is making sure that the people who are there, the patients who are there, who are putting their literal lives in the hands of whoever's working there, are taken care of, that they're getting the best care. What kind of society do we live in where people go to the hospital and they are so worried about the price of things, how much everything's gonna be? Why do we have to call the hospital after a hospital visit just to go and look at the itemized bill so they can take things off because they think that you're not gonna notice that they're charging you for things that you don't need? Like, is that not insane to us? Is that not crazy? That we're being told this is the land of the free. This is, you live in the richest country in the world, the first world country. This is bullshit. This is something that's been on, social media all the time, but the United States is just a third world country with a Gucci belt on. Because can you imagine? You go to the doctor, they tell you have something wrong with your spine. You assume the guy doing your surgery knows what the fuck he's doing. But he doesn't. Then you find out, after you're paralyzed from the neck down, if you're not dead, that he's been doing this at 2 other hospitals, but the other hospitals didn't want to tell anybody because they were losing money if they didn't have him on. One of the hospitals paid him $600,000 in advance, found out he couldn't do his job, didn't let him go, kept him on, literally kept him on. Because if he got enough patients to come and see him for procedures, then they wouldn't have wasted any money in his advance salary. Is that not insane? Is that not crazy to us? Have we not reached a point where that is, like, what do you mean? I can't even fathom it. Like, it's not making sense in here because I can't believe that we just live in a system where every single little thing is money, 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 money. Even our healthcare. Little Miss Flint has been trying to raise $1 million for like forever now. She ain't so little no more. Didn't the Supreme Court just vote to not allow a native territory to have clean water? $700 migrants were on a boat that capsized. And the Coast Guard just watched it happen and didn't do anything about it. This woman who's being, I don't know if she's actually going to prison for this long or she's been charged 20 years for assisting migrants instead of letting them drown. Like, do you think we might have lost the plot? Like, are we, where is the tipping point? When are we all gonna get together and be like, all right, we've had enough? Viva la revolution. You know what? Like, what is the tipping point? Because this seems like it's only going to get worse. And what they're going to do, and by they, I mean these billionaires, they're going to fucking suck the earth dry of all its natural resources and blah, blah, blah. And then it's going to be like those goddamn post-apocalyptic movies where they're just going to go up into space, live somewhere up there, and leave the rest of us. Because they surely will. They surely will. They will leave the rest of us to die. They're leaving us to die right now. BTW. In case you didn't realize. Let's talk about this. First of all, I have a note here that says there is no such thing as an ethical billionaire. I don't really think that we need to talk about what it means to be a billionaire. Like, these people get their money by making sure that other people don't get any money or get very little money. Okay? Like terrible labor practices, cutting corners, tax evasion, any sort of bad financial decision you can make, they're making them. Okay? But they have enough money that it just doesn't matter. So we're going to get into this. We're going to really get into this because I feel like, for me, growing up, getting older, becoming an adult, there wasn't, like, it took me a while before I realized just why billionaires are bad, because I feel like people are equating billionaires with successful people. Those are not the same thing, okay? You making $300,000, $400,000 a year is not the same thing as a billionaire, okay? No one is knocking you for making $500,000 a year at your tech job, okay? Good for you. In this economy, do you even really qualify as rich? Like, the distance between us and billionaires is very expansive. Okay, so I've written some things down. Let's read over this, shall we? Okay. If you were to count 1,000,000 seconds in days from today, that would be 11.57 days. So like 12 days. Okay, that's 1,000,000 seconds. A billion with a B seconds in days is 11,574.57 days, or 31.7 years. So we're talking about the difference between 12 days and 32 years. Those are not comparable at all. Think about how much you can get done in 11 days, 12 days. Think about how much you can get done in 32 years. If you were to work at the federal minimum wage of $7.25 per hour, which is just ridiculous if that's still the minimum wage, but let's keep going. You were to work at the federal minimum wage of $7.25 per hour. It would take around 69,000 years just to make $1 billion. These are not just rich people. Okay, these are not just like, oh, they're wealthy, they're successful, they own like a cute little restaurant. These are not those people. I need you to understand that these are not the people who worked really hard, built, like a family-owned business. They're able to afford a few cars, and maybe they have a vacation home, and they can take care of their kids going to college. These are not those people. These are people that are leeching off the work, the labor, the life force of the rest of us. If it would take me as a minimum wage worker 69,000 years to earn the same amount as $1 billion, and keep in mind, most of these motherfuckers don't have 1 billion. They have multiple billions. Multiple, meaning more than $1 billion. And I don't really want to hear all those people who are like, okay, but like assets and like the money isn't all liquid and let it. Listen to me. None of that. None of that. It doesn't fucking matter. Okay? It really doesn't. Anyway, I was thinking about what could we do with the amount of money that is just sitting out there? What could we do with that? What could we do with it? What kind of shopping spree could we have? Because here, just listen to this. According to Forbes, as of May 2023, there are 2,640 billionaires around the world. First of all, 2,640. 2,640 people have a billion, one or more dollars. 2,640 billion. That people around the world. It's like a handful in comparison to how many people are on the planet right now. So 2,640 billionaires. This is 19 times the amount there were in 1987. Collectively, all 2,640 billionaires are worth 12.2 with a T trillion dollars. 12.2 trillion dollars. I can't even conceptualize how much $1 trillion is. Then I was like, right, these are the amount of billionaires, how much money they have. What could we do with this money? Listen to this. Back in July of 2021, UN World Food Program Executive Director David Beasley told us it would take an estimated $40 billion each year to end world hunger by 2030. Then here's a quote from Beasley: "That seems like a lot of money, but in the United States alone, in the last 1 year, the US billionaires' net worth increase was over $1 trillion. When are we going to have enough? Like, when are we going to have enough? When is it going to be, okay, enough is enough? These people should not have this much money. This is too much money. Too much money, which is fake. Being hoarded by people so that other people don't get very real needs met. Okay, they're all over here talking about their fake paper money while people need real fucking food, real fucking shelter, real fucking clean water. Like, the fake stuff is overtaking the real stuff, and I can't. If you continue to think that these people give a shit about you, to give a fuck about you, you are living in a world of delusion, okay? Please, give me a map. Where is our world? Because these people who are leeching, just sucking us dry, you really think that people, 2,640 people who are worth $12.2 trillion actually care about what happens to the rest of us? How do you think they stay at that net worth? How do you think that they keep their billionaire status? They're not out here caring about a living wage. They don't care if they gotta cut corners, if their business has to have stuff made in a sweatshop, if they have to break a few labor laws just to make sure that they get, reach profit margins or whatever the fuck. These people don't care. Like, if you and me were to die today at the hands of a billionaire, do you really think that they would stop and be like, oh my God, I'm just so devastated? No, my darling. They would not care. Okay? $40 billion each year to end world hunger by 2030. 2030 is not that far away. It is a completely doable thing. And I'm not saying the onus is on the billionaires to do it. I mean, you don't want to fucking fix world hunger? Fine. Then you can't have all this fucking money. You don't have to help people, but then you cannot be actively controlling this much money. Sorry about it. You're not going to invest into the greater good, making sure people are not going to bed hungry, then you don't need this. Personally, if that was me, that's the way I would fucking run it, because And all these people are like, oh my God, but they work so hard, you know, like they really earned it. First of all, we've already covered that. No, they did not. Okay, a lot of these people come from generational wealth. All right, so the parents are rich, the granddaddies was rich, you know, all the way backity back. These people are earning money off the backs of other people, and they've been doing that. Their family has been doing that for ages, centuries for some of them. So they get a whole ass leg up, and then they have other people who do all the work who are not paid fairly. Okay, I'm not even gonna get into like more about it, but I feel like we just really need to conceptualize how much a billion fucking dollars is and how much good could be done if these people were not cretins, like horrible vultures. These people are vultures. They put us in conditions where we're going to die, and then they just circle, and they wait. They just wait. We're gonna read. We're gonna do some reading. This is from a Forbes article. I'll put it in the description, so if you want to read the full thing, you can read it, because this is okay. Get ready to have your mind blown. Okay, so now that the roaring 2020s have come to an end for all of the ultra rich, big gainers over the past 12 months include Spanish retailer Amancio Ortega, had a bump of 17.7 billion. These are singular people, by the way. Chinese e-commerce kingpin Colin Zhang Huang had a bump of 18.9 billion, and Indonesian coal baron Lo Tuk Kwang, who had a bump of 21.8 billion. But yet, no one had a better year than Bernard Arnault, who is number one on the world's billionaires list for the first time. Record sales and profits have driven shares of his luxury goods leviathan LVMH, which owns brands such as Louis Vuitton, Christian Dior, and Tiffany, to new heights. Arnault, who is worth an estimated 211 billion. That is not something that should be in a sentence. Arnault, one singular person who is worth an estimated $211 billion, added 53 billion to his fortune over the past year on the back of an 18% jump in LVMH stock, giving him a bigger gain than any other billionaire on the planet. This is the first time a French citizen has led the world's billionaires ranking, which began in 1987. Well, congrats to him, congrats to France. You are sucking the world dry. I hope you're so fucking proud. And you know what's crazy? They don't even care about this. They don't care. They don't care. Do you understand how heartless you have to be to step on the backs of other people to get to where you want to be? You don't get $1 billion by just being so good at your job and being so loved by your coworkers and putting in extra hours. And you definitely don't get $211 billion by doing shit ethically. You gotta cut corners somewhere. You gotta step on a couple hundred or thousands or hundreds of thousands of people's backs to get to $211 billion. That is not a place you get to by hard work. These people, I just really cannot. The fact that these are real people. Real people. I don't even understand. Let's read another article. This is what happened to the rest of us. Today, half of our people are living paycheck to paycheck. 500,000 of the very poorest among us are homeless. Millions are worried about evictions. 92 million are uninsured or underinsured, and families all across the country are worried about how they're going to feed their kids. Today, an entire generation of young people carry an outrageous level of student debt and face the reality that their standard of living will be lower than their parents. And most obscenely, low-income Americans now have a life expectancy that is about 15 years lower than the wealthy. Poverty in America has become a death sentence. Do you understand? This is not, I am jealous about these people and the fact that they have yachts. Poverty kills. Okay? What do you do when you have to go to the doctor but you can't? You can't afford it. You don't have the insurance. You don't go. You put it off and you put it off and you put it off until it eventually gets so bad that it's something that could potentially kill you. Meanwhile, the people on top have never had it so good. The top 1% now own more wealth than the bottom 92%, and the 50 wealthiest Americans own more wealth than the bottom half of American society. 165 million people. So 50 people, 50, 50, 50. This is the least zeros I've talked about this whole time. 50 of the wealthiest Americans own more wealth than 165 million people. Is that not? While millions of Americans have lost their jobs and incomes during the pandemic, over the past year, 650 billionaires have seen their wealth increase by 1.3 trillion. In 1978, the top 0.1% owned about 7% of the nation's wealth. In 2019, the latest year of data available, they own nearly 20. Unbelievably, the two richest people in America, Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk, now own more wealth than the bottom 40% of Americans combined. Like, are we ready to do this? Because this is getting ridiculous. It has been ridiculous, but this is just, there's no way that two people should own more than 40%. Two people, like me and you own more than 40% of the. How do you sleep at night? This is why I say, like, I have no empathy. I have zero empathy for people who are able to go to sleep knowing the fact that they are just siphoning all of the resources, all of the money, and then the rest of us are just told to fuck off. Over 34 million Americans face hunger each day and every day, including 1 in 8 children. 1 of every 8 children that you see is facing hunger. If we think about hunger as most of us experience it as a temporary sensation, the solution to this problem is straightforward. We just need to get more food to people who don't have enough. This is from moveforhunger.org, by the way. We're just gonna read some statistics because I just have to get this out. This is driving me insane. Food banks, shelters, and soup kitchens may seem like the answer to hunger in America. They are, however, a short-term and inadequate response. There has been a stunning increase in the number of emergency food programs over the last 40 years. In 1980, there were about 24 food banks in the United States. Today, there are more than 400, which serve 63,000 affiliated pantries and shelters. The growth of the emergency food system, however, has failed to solve hunger. Despite a spike during the Great Recession and during the pandemic, the prevalence of food insecurity has remained relatively constant over the past 28 years. In 2021, over 10% of households were food insecure, which is only slightly below the 11.9 rate that was recorded in 1995, the year the federal government started keeping statistics. This is the Why Are People Hungry section. According to Feeding America, 72% of the households served by its affiliated food banks live at or below 100% of the federal poverty line and have a median annual household income of $9,175. In short, they don't have enough money to consistently put food on the table. While unemployment is certainly a significant factor, 54% of the households Feeding America Serves had at least one person employed in the past year. Is that not insane? These are not people who are doing nothing. And even if they weren't doing anything, why the fuck aren't they getting some fucking food? This is insane to me. A median annual household income of $9,175. Vibes, what are we doing? What are we doing? What are we doing? There's people who are getting bumps in the billions every year, and people are earning less than $10,000 a year. In fact, as I said, most Americans are working harder than ever, but are still struggling to make ends meet. Income inequality has, by almost any measure, increased exponentially over the past 40 plus years. Since 1980, most of the growth in wages has been concentrated among top earners, while wages for the average worker have stagnated. More people than ever are enrolling in college to try and secure their future, but the ballooning cost of higher education means that most students will take on a sizable amount of debt. The median student loan debt now stands at $37,575, more than doubling since 2007. Meanwhile, the cost of housing and healthcare has continued to outpace incomes. The average person would need to make $25.82 per hour to afford a modest two-bedroom apartment. That is more than 3 times the federal minimum wage. There are only 28 counties in the entire United States where a worker earning the minimum wage could afford to rent a one-bedroom home. The average worker also pays $450 per month for healthcare coverage, a number that jumps to $1,168 for family plans. On top of that, the cost of the average meal increased from $2.94 to $3.25 in 2020. In some areas, however, the cost per meal is nearly twice the national average. For households that are often forced to choose between eating and paying the utility bills, every dollar counts. Although hunger affects every community in the United States, some groups of people are more vulnerable than others. African Americans are 2 times more likely to be food insecure than white, non-Hispanic households. Senior citizens are the fastest growing food insecure population in the United States. 1 in 4 veterans of the Iraq and Afghanistan wars is food insecure, and a growing body of research shows that the number of college students facing hunger is skyrocketing. I'm just going to ask again, when are we going to have enough? Like, when is this going to end? Is this not insane to us? Is this not like I can't even just like laying it out in numbers, in hard concrete numbers. More members of the Forbes list are Americans than citizens of any other country or territory. The US has 735 billionaires, followed by China with 495, India with 169, and Germany with 126. Like, I know we all get online and we all talk about eat the rich, but this is not okay. Like, guys, we can't live like this. These people would siphon the oxygen out of the earth and send it to Mars along with themselves if it meant more profits. Like, these people do not care. And it comes back to this whole submersible situation. This is the type of people that these billionaires are. They don't care about the lives of their children, their own children. So what makes you think they'd give a fuck about you? They will drag their children down to the depths of the sea and you think that they will care whether or not you live or die. There is no end to the ego, the hubris. It's on 10. Okay? They think they are invincible. They think that the money they have earned has made them invincible. They will do absolutely anything and everything to cut corners to get to where they need to get. They don't care on who they have to step on, who they have to fire. They will do whatever they have to do to get to where they want to go. These people are not our friends. These people are not our community. These people are not for us, with us, about us. These people are actively against us. Actively. Not passively just sitting on a, just sitting back there tinkling away at their Teslas that will blow up in your face, or making up new social media websites that don't actually fucking work and are stealing your information at every given moment of the day. They are actively working to make sure that we don't succeed. That is their plan. We are built to work and die. And so this is for all of you who are just out there just really like loving on some billionaires, baby. We need to get you a hobby. We need to get you to do something different, because these people don't care about you. I will say it once and I will say it again. I will say it however many times I need to say it. You cannot have empathy for people who are not in your community. These people are not in our circle. These people do not care about us. We are making jokes about eating the rich, about these motherfuckers falling into the ocean. And I love that for us, because at the end of the day, these people would sell us. These people are like Mr. Krabs. They'd sell us for 2 cents. They don't care about us. The people who do care about us, our community, those are the people that we need to be like fostering and engaging in, and defending online, our community. These billionaires don't know you exist. As long as you keep being a cog in the machine, that is all they care about. And I'm sorry that this has been such like a downer episode, but it is the goddamn truth. And I hate the fact that we have to live in a society where such few people own so much more than the rest of us. The fact that we are not allowed to enjoy life, because truly that's what it is. We are not allowed to enjoy our lives because we're too busy working for these people. And then if we don't work for these people, then, it's just, there's very few alternatives right now in the way that capitalism is set up. But all I want to say is that whenever y'all are ready to just eat the rich, I'm ready to. I'm ready to go. I'm ready, because this whole situation, and this is just like the tip of the iceberg. The things that I shared with you guys today, the things that I'm just going over. This is the tip of the iceberg. It has nothing to like the rest of the shit that they do. I'm sure people are writing like dissertations on this. Like, this is a lot of information, and this is just that much. So I've got my fork, my knife, my plate. I'm ready. Like, when are we doing guillotines? Like, what's the plan? Because we all deserve better. We deserve so much better than this. Oh my God, so much better. Please. Okay. We're at the end of the episode. I know that was a lot. Take the time to process, please. Because I'm gonna need some time to process. I'm gonna need some time to fucking process. That was a lot. We did a lot. I want to thank you guys so much for watching and listening to the Blather Chronicles, as always. If you guys have any like tips, any voice notes that you want to send in, anything like that, please go ahead and send them in. I would love to listen to your thoughts, to listen to any comments that you may have. Please tell me what kind of utensils you're bringing, because I kind of want to bring like gold ones, like those gold skinny forks, and like little mini trident ones. That's my go-to. That's my choice. I've had such a blast doing this video podcast. If you guys think that I should keep doing this, let me know, because it was fun. Like, this was a cute little good time, cute little engaging time. And yeah, I would love to hear from you guys. So again, before I go, let me just remind you that all of the articles that I pulled from are going to be in the description, so you guys can go ahead and read all the full articles. I only read, little bits and pieces here and there, but go ahead and read the full article. And yeah, I love you guys so much. Thank you, as always, for watching now and listening. I'll see you guys next time. As always, thank you for tuning into this week's episode. If you just can't get enough of me, and I can't blame you, head on over to my other social media. All the links can be found in the link tree in the episode description. And if you liked this week's episode, make sure to give me a review and rate this podcast 5 stars. I can't wait to chat with you guys next week. Bye!